This paper is part of the requirements of a course, EDU 587, Communicating with Immigrants for Georgetown College. The assignment directions were to interview an immigrant family who has recently moved to the United States and subsequently use the findings to support and/or assist ESL teachers and learners in the school. The purpose of the interview is to gain cultural, religious, linguistic, and historical heritage about the family. The interview was held at the family's home with both parents and two daughters. The father, Mick, is a retired professional diver and SWAT team member. The mother, Barbara, works at the local middle school as a paraeducator. Their first daughter attends an elementary school in the same school district that the mother is employed. Research was conducted prior to the interview to develop an understanding of the home country of Venezuela and to brainstorm comprehensive, detailed questions. Following the interview, a reflection will be discussed to compare and contrast the perception of the country and culture as opposed to the actual responses to the interview questions and observations of the home. ESL implications will also be discussed to provide teaching and learning strategies. There are over 40 languages spoken by the people of Venezuela. The most common and thus considered Venezuela's primary language is Spanish. Venezuelan people may also speak English, French, Arabic, Chinese, Italian, Catalan, and other languages across the 23 states that make up Venezuela. Venezuela received its rich culture from many places, such as American Indian, Spanish, African, Italian, Portuguese, Arab, German, and South American influences. Nearly 1,700 miles of the northern coastline touches the Caribbean Sea, which is mirrored in Venezuela's historical buildings, art, and other architecture. The art of Venezuela was much influenced by religion until the 1800s, when modernism became widespread. Literature has heavy Spanish influence due to early colonization of Spanish people. The status of men and women are legally equal. However, there continue to be great differences in the terms of actual wage earnings, sexual freedom, and social expectations. Venezuelan people practice open-ended marriages, placing very little legal restrictions, as long as a person marries someone of the opposite sex and is the legal age. One strives to marry another at a higher social class and of lighter skin color. The opposite of this is seen as going against the norm. Calling an African American individual Negro or Negrito, which translates to black or blackie, is socially acceptable. To call anyone gorda, which means fat, is actually like saying honey to someone you know or complete stranger at the supermarket. The same goes for flaca or skinny. Being black or biracial in Venezuela is not important. Venezuelans do not place high importance on race. Individuals grow up as equals. There are no black or white neighborhoods. People live in different places simply depending on where your family is from and what one can afford. This is an image of thatched huts that are the type of dwelling of indigenous people of Venezuela. The government of Venezuela is a typical federal government with a president who is elected for a term of 6 years. The current constitution was drafted in 1999 and changed the name República de Venezuela to República Bolivariana de Venezuela, which emphasizes free education, human rights, and other areas of Venezuelan culture and beliefs. Much like in the U.S., Venezuela's political system has 3 branches of government: executive, legislative, and judicial branches. The Venezuelan government has recently gone through many changes as there has been much turmoil and economic hardships. Hugo Chavez was president from 1999 to 2013 and sought to implement the 21st century socialism. He handpicked his successor, Nicolas Maduro, who has continued Chavez's ideas of socialism. Data from the CIA 2015 reports, current concerns include a weakening of democratic institutions, political polarization, a politicized military, rampant violent crime, overdependence on the petroleum industry with its price fluctuations, foreign exchange controls that discourage private sector investment, high inflation, a decline in the quality of fundamental human rights, and widespread scarcity of human consumer goods. Venezuela is also a destination country for human trafficking, which includes sex trafficking and forced labor for men, women, and children. Individuals are often lured from urban and tourist areas with false job offers. Women from all over the world have been sexually exploited in Venezuela. Such places range from Colombia, Peru, Haiti, China, and South Africa, and are thereafter transported to areas in the Caribbean islands where women may be forced into prostitution and children are made to beg in the streets or work as domestic servants. Venezuelans can be traced back to as far as 13,000 BC. The land was originally inhabited by Indians, the Carib and Arawak. During the Spanish invasion, independence was established July 5, 1811, after a brief political coup, thus naming that day Venezuela's Independence Day. Initial leaders established the nation's political system, and under the reign of Juan Vicente Gomez between 1909 and 1935, there was a rapid phase of economic development and growth. Hugo Chavez is the president and made constitutional changes to improve the country in many ways, although currently has not withheld. The colors of the Venezuelan flag are yellow, blue, red, with 8 stars positioned in an arc with the coat of arms in the upper left-hand corner. The color yellow stands for the riches of the land. Blue stands for the courage of the people, and red stands for the bloodshed in attaining independence. The stars represent the 7 provinces of Venezuela that united to fight for independence. It wasn't until recently that President Hugo Chavez ordered an additional star to be added to the flag to represent the historic province of Guyana. Venezuela is located in the northernmost part of South America with a broad Caribbean coastline. Colombia, Brazil, and Guyana border the country to the south. Venezuela has a total area of 912,050 square kilometers and a land area of 882,050 square kilometers, which is about twice the size of California. The country has 4 defined regions: the lowlands in the northwest, the northern mountains, which are the Andes, which extend in a broad east-west arc from the Colombian border along the Caribbean Sea, the wide plains in central Venezuela, and the highly dissected highlands in the southeast. Venezuela is home of Angel Falls in the Guiana Highlands, which is the world's highest waterfall. The climate is mostly tropical, hot, and humid, and more moderate in the highlands. Natural resources that can be found are petroleum, natural gas, iron ore, gold, bauxite, and other minerals, hydropower, and diamonds. The primary religion of Venezuela is Roman Catholic, encompassing approximately 90% of the Venezuelan population. The remaining percentages include Protestant and other religions, such as Muslim and Jews, and/or atheist. Music of Venezuela includes many unique types. The most popular genre of music listened to in Venezuela is called joropo. Follow this link for an example of this genre of music and dance. Rites of passages for children are mainly based on the Roman Catholic religion. Baptism and First Communions are viewed as important occasions for children to experience. Children are often named after a particular saint and tend to celebrate the saint's day along with their own birthday. Death is celebrated experience in Venezuelan home. Dedications are made to the person with prayers in the person's home for 9 days. Close family and friends attend this ceremony. Schooling begins at the age of 6 and progresses for 6 years until high school. High school consists of 4 years followed by a 1-year preparation for college. Most often, college is a 4-year process, unless a specialized position, such as a doctor or engineer, is desired. Some colleges are available to Venezuelans free of charge. Although many Venezuelan people are finding their way to colleges and universities presently, there continue to be instances where low-income families need their children to work, therefore are unable to complete high school. A guest in a Venezuelan's home would feel welcome and comfortable as their hosts go out of their way to ensure they receive their every desire. Family values are at the utmost importance for most people. Assistance is always provided when families and friends find themselves in times of need. Families often live very close to each other and visit in villages. When invited to dinner, guests often send flowers prior to the event, particularly orchids. It is viewed as eager or greedy to arrive early or on time, so always arrive at least 15 to 30 minutes late. Dress conservatively and never refuse coffee, as this is a sign of hospitality from the host. The host will tell when and where to sit and to begin eating. The host will also give a toast prior to anyone taking a first sip. All foods are eaten with a fork and knife, with the fork held in the left hand and the knife in the right hand. It is considered polite to leave a small portion of food on your plate. Always send a thank you card, as this shows high class. The family I interviewed speaks Spanish and English at home. They are teaching their children to be bilingual by using two strategies that are mentioned in the book, Bilingual Life and Reality, by Francoise Groschon. The parents are using home outside the home for their oldest daughter since she is in school. This strategy entails having the child speak the native language while at home and speaking the second language outside of the home, in the school and in the community. For their younger daughter, who was only 2 years old, they are using free alternation, which means they interchange between Spanish and English often. In the home, the father is retired and stays home with their youngest daughter each day. The wife goes to work and is also taking classes to earn a teaching degree. The family states that the people of this area have been very friendly and welcoming, unlike other states where they have visited. Each family member treats the other with respect, care, and genuine love. There are no feelings of resentment, distaste, or negativity towards each other. The children were very shy but friendly and respectful. If one of the parents asked them to do something, the children would both comply with no questions. The youngest daughter seemed to crave attention from her mother, while the oldest daughter entertained herself with the television and her toys. The overall feeling of the culture in the home seemed very welcoming, calming, and relaxing. The family would have been considered a part of the middle to upper class in Venezuela. Mick was a professional diver for the oil company years ago. Before leaving the country, Barbara was only 19 years old, therefore she was still living with her family, whom consisted of a German father who immigrated to Venezuela during the day of the Nazi Germany. Her mother is a native of Venezuela, looking to move to the United States. Mick's parents are Basque, originating from Spain. Barbara considered her family growing up to be considered mostly middle class. Her parents owned their home and cars debt-free. She described the cars as not fancy, but there were no payments. Her family built their house without a loan, working very hard to save and buy the land and build in phases. It took about 5 years for the family to move into the house, even as it was not completely finished. Project by project, they finished the house together. Her mom, dad, brother, and herself worked on something constantly. To quote Barbara, "We did not think of ourselves as being less than anybody else because we had to do it, but the opposite. We thought we were lucky to make our house our own." Her father's family is wealthier, so she was able to enjoy other things like condos on the beach for the weekend, boats, and country clubs. Also, her aunt and uncle are her godparents, therefore they took special care of her growing up. She attended private school from preschool through college. Barbara has worked since she was 14 years old, during weekends and Christmas season, in her cousin Levi's store. Her dad dropped out of high school to pursue his motocross career when he was 16. Her mother graduated college with an associate's degree in preschool education, as in Venezuela, you need a minimum of an associate's degree to work in a preschool. Barb and Mick answered all my questions without hesitation. In fact, they were eager to answer and give information regarding their experience of coming to North America with no negativity in the responses and no holding back of information. I was very nervous and anxious, knowing that I was going to someone's home that I did not know very well and ask such personal questions about their life. After we began conversing, these feelings quickly vanished as the family was very open and friendly, answering my questions. They freely told me everything I asked for and much more. They convey an homage to U.S. and feel that they have surrendered any allegiance to their home country since coming here. They proudly wave the American flag and feel there is much opportunity to make a better life for themselves and their children. I feel privileged to have had this opportunity to visit and interview a family to gain insight into their thoughts and feelings regarding moving from their home country to an unknown world, as well as many other struggles that they have had so far in their lives. Other teachers can learn so much from interviewing an immigrant family. It is ironic that I was able to visit a family from Venezuela because our school recently had a family from the same location move to our town. The family is working in the area and the parents attend Northern Kentucky University. One of the students of this family is in the 8th grade at the school where I work. According to this family, he is able to communicate in English, yet he refuses to speak a word of English to his teachers and friends at school. It is very helpful to learn information about his home country in order to share with his current teachers and try to encourage him to communicate using the English language. I would recommend that his teachers planned a home visit with his family to gain further information about his life. So much information is overlooked when trying to communicate via email or over the phone. Going to a family's home opens a window into their world, which can help meet these students where they are and lessen the gap in learning and understanding. Education in Venezuela is not a priority. Therefore, immigrant students are unfamiliar with the importance that is placed on education here in America. Education is compulsory for children aged 6 to 15 in Venezuela, and thereafter, an individual can specialize in a particular area. Many universities have no tuition, so individuals can attend for free. Teachers of children from Venezuela and many other countries need to be understanding of the limitations a student may encompass due to the educational history they may have experienced. Not to mention, most of these students are learning a second language. Therefore, there are many difficulties in which these students are faced. David Sousa, of How the ELL Brain Learns, says that as young children are exposed to multiple languages, this helps build the neural networks that make it an easier task to learn other languages as they grow. The human brain has an extraordinary capacity to learn and acquire spoken languages quickly and accurately. Although this may be the case, English language learners continue to face many mental demands. Most ELL students in the classrooms today are learning a second language later in adolescence. Although information as to how long the brain retains its responsiveness to the sounds of language is still a question, researchers can agree in that the window of opportunity for learning a second language diminishes during the middle years. Teachers need to have several teaching strategies to assist these young students in their learning. Sousa says that learning English is not easy, as characteristics make it difficult for a non-native speaker to master all the grammar pronunciation exceptions, not to mention idioms and slang. Teaching tips that can be used include using photographs to check for understanding, using metacognitive strategies to develop listening skills, in-depth vocabulary comprehension and use, and comparing idioms from their native language to recognize the differences between literal and figurative language. As teachers of English language learners, one must understand each student's culture and background. It is essential in a student's success for teachers to build and develop strong, trusting relationships with students from different cultural backgrounds. Teachers need to learn to be culturally responsive to each individual student. A suggestion for teachers of ELL students is to schedule a family meeting to introduce themselves and get a feel for the family's values and customs. This can help the teacher understand the student more fully and perhaps provide the student with appropriate learning activities in the classroom. It is important as well to understand that bilingual individuals learn differently and lessons should be accommodated to meet their learning needs. Educators should know that pulling a student out of the regular classroom may widen the gap between them and the other students. It takes approximately 5 years for minority language students to catch up to their majority language peers. Most schools in the area provide submersion as a way to teach ELL students. An alternative to this would be to provide transitional programs during which the student's first language serves as a bridge toward the second majority language. Overall, teachers need to practice being culturally responsive to English language learners. Visiting the family and getting to know students on a personal level can help both the teacher and student to be successful in teaching and learning. ELL students bring their own unique experience to the classroom to provide learning opportunities for everyone. It is up to teachers to provide quality learning opportunities to make a difference in the education of all ELL students.